A surprise update just went live today, and I have tested everything, so don't skip my insights. Don't just skip through the screenshots, because we did not have much of a meta change with the Season 4.5 Reloaded update, but they just dropped a stealth update right now, and it is awesome because we finally don't have to shoot the Krig-C anymore. So they nerfed not only the damage per mag from 70 to 60, they also nerfed the multipliers, but probably most importantly, there is a really jarring recoil pattern that I'm going to show you early on in the Krig-C recoil. They did do a minor buff to the Kilo 141. It's not good enough to make it worthwhile. It's just a small 30 meters per second bullet velocity. Inconsequential. They did actually help out the GPR to be an even better sniper support, which we're going to talk about that, but it's still not good enough to be fully a long range meta. The aims, again, kind of like the Kilo, it's solid, but I don't know if it's really worth using unless you really just like those super straight shooters, but I think there's some better options on the board. They did nerf the DM10 by not only nerfing the arm multipliers, but also nerfing the bullet velocity and the lower torso and leg multipliers. Those actually do end up stacking to be pretty meaningful. If you hit all headshots with the DM10, it's going to absolutely fry like any marksman rifle should, but it's a little bit less consistent, and I'm going to show you exactly why. The numbers are kind of insane. Now, on top of that, they also did increase the performance of the 2x, 3x, and 4x for the Black Ops 6 optics. Beforehand, if you remember, they all were like really kind of shaky, and that's why everyone was using red dots. Well, now they work a lot better, and they also reduced some MW2 and MW3 strafing penalties as well, kind of like that strafing aim bobbing, but unfortunately those guns don't have both the bullet velocity and the recoil considerations to make them into the meta. So what we're gonna do is real quick, I'm gonna show you the stats all together on bar graphs, and then I'm gonna show you the builds that I've been testing all day, because man, it's finally fun to have a good meta to use inside of Warzone. But first, ladies and gentlemen, two of my favorite childhood franchises have combined. We've got Call of Duty now paired up with Gundam. Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek, okay? You already know this by now. But they have paired up together in Season 6 of Call of Duty Mobile, and you can play it now for free, whether you want to go in a 4v4 actual mech versus mech gunfight, or you just want to jump into some Blackout Battle Royale, some multiplayer maps, some zombies, and use Gundam skins, Gundam guns inside of game. You can play it now for free on COD Mobile. You guys know I'm a big fan of COD Mobile. I actually recently went out to Las Vegas to compete and win in a $100,000 COD Mobile LAN. I played in some online tournaments and gotten absolutely slammed, but it's a ton of fun, okay? High skill gap game with a ton of new content, whether it's classic maps or new awesome integrations like this, or one they recently did with Nier. Call of Duty Mobile is free, and they're the sponsor of today's video. You can check it out via the link in the pinned comment or the description. Huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so getting over into the stats, we're gonna use the COD Community site because they had a really cool, like, just quick compare where you can compare some of the long range, some of the close range, some of the sniper support, and they use the data from True Game Data. He is the source, and if I ever question anything, I go to him, but this is a nice little quick comparison tool. So some of the guns that we're gonna see today and that we're gonna be talking about today are the SWAT 5.56, the Cypher, the TR2 especially. The DM10 was in the conversation there for a while, the GPR, and then of course the Krig-C. Now it's important to note the Krig-C has basically fallen off the board. They are the red number right there. Not only do they fall pretty short both in the close and mid range, but especially at the long range, not even factoring in the recoil considerations, which we're going to talk about. This combination TTK shows that the Krig really isn't what it used to be. So for the most part, the Krig's going to be out of the equation. And especially when you see that recoil, you'll understand. So taking a look at some of the other guns, the DM10, when you hit all headshots, absolutely complete cannon will destroy people, but without multiple headshots, it just really doesn't do the damage that I would want it to do to be a consistent pick for me. So it's still a lot of fun to use, and if you're team shooting, absolutely the DM10 is awesome, but without consistent headshots on every single gunfight, you are gonna find yourself getting slammed, and so I'm leaving the DM10 out of my main picture. Then we can get into some of the other ones. As you can see down at the bottom, the purple line is the TR2, and this thing is insane. Okay, it's really usable. Right now, everyone inside of the World Series of Warzone Customs that are going on right now, where players are playing for $1 million tournament qualifier, dang near everyone is using the TR2. It is absolutely the truth, not clickbait. It's really, really dang good. Now, obviously, those are some of the best players in the world who have, you know, really good trigger fingers. Maybe they're using something like a Scuff that I use that has the mechanical digital trigger on it where you can press it a lot faster. It's not for everyone, so we're going to talk about some full auto options like the SWAT, very competitive, the Cypher, very competitive, and then the GPR, but for a little bit more of a mixed use case. Now, unfortunately, close range and, okay, look down here at the bottom, down on the far left, LC10 still beats out basically every other option on the board. You'll see the FFAR has a very, very solid damage range for a sniper support, which basically makes it kind of like a line on line with the GPR. LC10 kills closer inside of like 17 to 20 meters. And then the GPR and the FFAR are going to be your best sniper supports. Way out at 50 plus meters. The FFAR is a little bit better, but that's also up to you, personal preference, which you prefer. So that is kind of the baseline for everything. Now let's get into some of the builds and actually talk about what I'm shooting right now. And man, it is so good not to have to shoot the Krig. So let me show you real quick what the Krig actually looks like, just so you know. So first off, 70 bullets down to 60 bullets, and something that basically kills any gun's usability, a very harsh horizontal recoil pull at the beginning of the recoil pattern. That right there, up, left, right, left. It's gonna be annoying enough that it's gonna cost you in gunfights. Now this is with a vertical foregrip on it, which helps out the most with horizontal recoil. And just that little left to right pull, I think is gonna make it for the average player just annoying enough that they're not gonna like it. Because when you're shooting at someone way off target, it's easy beforehand because the Krig just had a nice linear curve and you can just pull down and to the right slightly. But when it goes up and to the left and then hard, you know, up and to the left and then up hard right, it just, now I'm pulling down left, now I have to pull down right, and now I have to pull down left. Even as someone who plays this game for a living, mid-range, not that big of a deal. Long range, it might pull a shot off the shoulder, and I might not like that. Now, you might see, Isaac, this sight, what am I using? It looks pretty clean. It's the new buffed 4X sight. So, is the Krig completely dead? I mean, you'll see I can still shoot it pretty dang straight. I'll throw on the hand cam so that way you guys can see what I'm working with here. It's nice, but it's not so good that like I absolutely want to keep using it. It's just not what it used to be. Now that being said, if you don't have any other gun that you prefer to use, the Krig could still be good for you. And I'll show you the build that I have right now. I went ahead and I threw on the recoil springs because without the recoil springs, if you went with something like overpressured, you would really feel that horizontal pull. I think if you are going to keep running the Krig, you need to be running the recoil springs with it right now, which brings the bullet velocity down from the ridiculous like 1600 bullet velocity, 1479. It brings it down to now just simply 1232, which is still plenty usable. But you need those recoil springs to take out some of that horizontal pull because without it, it's pretty jarring. From there, I have balanced stock, CQB grip, extended mag, vertical foregrip, gain twist, compensator, and the Dobrik. Once again, the 4X, the 3X, and the 2X have all been buffed to have less visual recoil. Beforehand, I would always recommend running what was the Dobrik red dot sight, and I still absolutely love that. But if you're just checking out some new sights, I would encourage you to check out the 2, 3, and 4X, and then you can go into customize. You can customize the reticle. And then if you have it unlocked in Warzone, or for me, I have it unlocked from grinding multiplayer, that's a good way that you can get just a really clean dot sight as opposed to some of these uglier, you know, kind of pin sights. But you can, the new Havoc Royale mode, which is basically plunder, but like in a condensed area with some special effects and funny modifiers, that's a great way to level up guns. I got the TR2 leveled extremely quickly earlier using that. But this is right now my meta 8 attachment Krig build that I would recommend. Make sure you take your screenshot. Moving on from there, we have the Grau. This has kind of been what I've been rocking for the long time as my secondary, just real quick if you haven't seen it before. It's a tactical stance build that it's not as good as an SMG, but it's better than just a standard pistol, and I think it's a great secondary that you should run if you're not already. Moving on from there, I don't even need to talk about it. We saw the stats. I don't even tell you about how the LC10 shoots. You already know by now. This is my LC10 build of choice. I build it for max movement speed, and then also I bring in overpressure to help bring it up, that bullet velocity to help me handle some of those mid-range fights. And then I throw the reinforced barrel to help out just a little bit with the damage range as well. This is my LC10 build. Unfortunate, LC10 is still meta. Hopefully they change that up. Now, DM10. Absolute cannon if you're hitting headshots, but just important to note, it's going to be difficult to hit consistent headshots at long ranges. Now, as you can still see, very, very controllable recoil. And this is with a monolithic suppressor. I could throw on something like a compensator and have just a little bit less recoil, but where this gun really struggles is kind of the side to side. And I think with the slower fire rate, it's kind of one of those guns where like the scope looks like it's moving more than it actually is. Still a dangerous gun, but Where it really struggles is just the lack of damage outside of the headshot multiplier. Really important thing for you guys to look at here is, as you can see, it does 62 to the legs, 78 to the chest, and 100 to the head. The TR2, which we're going to look at here in a moment, does the same damage to the chest, stomach, legs. It is full consistency with its damage profile. Very, very deadly. DM10, still disgusting. I still fear the DM10 when I see it and I hear it shooting at me. But this is the build that I would rock. And if you really want more recoil control, you could throw on the compensator. You could also possibly throw on the muzzle brake or the ported, because these have first shot recoil control, which is typically better for DMRs. But for some reason, I'm back and forth on it. I would either run the comp, the muzzle, or the ported. I'm still back and forth on it. My brain tells me to run the ported, but the feel tells me to run just the regular compensator. Because you can see, with the regular compensator, it just doesn't move besides just a little bit of horizontal. Totally up to you. If you need that recoil control, you can throw on the compensator. If you don't want the recoil control, you can throw on the monolithic, and that gives you 1530 bullet velocity. So if you haven't already, here is my DM10 build. I'll go ahead and throw up the weapon preview so that way you guys can see it via this. I'll move my cam out of the way. This is my DM10 build. Make sure you take your screenshot. Moving on from there, the TR2. This gun's disgusting, and I don't even have it fully leveled up to where I want. I've been playing with it today, and I've been getting the levels up. It is a DMR, but one, it does 59 damage everywhere on the body. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're hitting hands, stomach, legs, chest, neck, 59 damage, except for the head, which gets 74, and it has a much faster fire rate. It's gross, okay? I'm seeing two options that people are using this with. A lot of people are liking it with the 2X. And let me tell you something right now. This isn't the gun fully leveled up. And I'll show you real quick what it looks like fully leveled up. And if you're ever interested in trying out guns to see if it's worth leveling, here's a little trick for you. As you can see, I only have the TR2 up to level 14. I've been using it. I've got like, I don't know, maybe 100 kills or with it or something right now that I was testing out. But I don't have the two things that I want, which is recoil springs and the extended mag. If you're ever not sure if you think a gun is worth using, rather than wasting all that time leveling it up, what you can do is you can simply go into private match, go into create private match, and just pick whatever, right? I pick solos. It'll allow you to connect to the server. And then once you're in here, you can create your own class inside of the Warzone engine, not the multiplayer engine, but inside of the Warzone engine. And you can see I can throw on something like the extended mag 2 or the recoil springs, which the recoil springs, very important to know. The recoil springs, as you can see behind my camera, help out with horizontal recoil control. The only other things that help out with horizontal recoil control are underbarrels, which come from the vertical foregrip or the G grip. So those are the only two places you can get horizontal recoil control. So if you're struggling with horizontal recoil, you got to go with vertical or the recoil springs. The muzzle typically only controls vertical recoil, as you can see right there, vertical recoil. So it's even a straighter shooter when you throw on recoil springs, extended mag, throw on the optic of your choice. I'm personally liking the 2X, and you will see now it's even better than it was before. And if you want to really get ambitious, what some people are doing is when they have the recoil springs, they're feeling confident with it until they'll go in and they'll say, give me monolithic, which then brings it to 1652 bullet velocity. And you're suppressed on the mini map. Hang on, it's kicking me out. It can be a little finicky. Make sure we got everything put back. Recoil springs, extended mag 2, monolithic suppressor. And you have one of two options. You can either rock this optic right here, which is the 2X. But what a lot of people have also been rocking, and it's something that I've been enjoying myself. Oh no. The firing range, again, is very finicky, unfortunately. It's called the VMF. Go to the VMF variable scope, Again, I would suggest customizing if you have it. I have the green reticle because I've basically gotten all of these kills with the TR2. And you can see it has a really wide like area that you can see around your target, because I don't like being able to see my target. I don't like to see my target and then have the edge of my scope like right here blocking something off, or maybe I can miss some information of if someone drop shots on me or something. But this, not only does it rip, it even allows you, if you wanted to zoom in. Now, again, it's one of those things where it looks bouncier than it actually is. But even if you needed to tap someone from far away, keep in mind, you have 1600 bullet velocity. You basically have like a true DMR sniper. So all that being said, the TR2 is the truth when it comes to the meta. And actually, when I was trying it right there, I didn't have recoil springs attached because it kind of bugged out on me. Okay, now I have recoil springs. It's the truth. Everyone's using it inside of customs. It's the best gun in the game right now. If you haven't already, take your screenshot of this build right here. Now, again, you can rock compensator if you want even more recoil control, and you can rock that Jason armory as well, just to kind of give you a little bonus thing. If you want to take a screenshot right here, this is another option where you could kit it out for a little bit more recoil control and a different scope. Nice. Dude, it's actually so, like, I'm excited to, I mean, I've been excited to get on stream. Streams have been great. We've been playing tourneys. We've been crushing tourneys. And playing the game's been a lot of fun, but it's gotten a little bit stale with just the Krig. So it's actually fun to talk about some new guns for once. So DM10's all right. TR2's even better. Krig is still all right, but it still has a little bit more recoil control than you would normally need. You might need to throw recoil springs on to mitigate for that horizontal pull. HDR continues to be the truth. If you haven't, this is my build that I prefer. I really like the Blandwell 7X. A lot of people come into my chat and ask what the scope is. It's got a really clean bezel around it. The other one is like sitting on your face where you have no situational awareness. I like this scope the most because it has a clean dot sight and it allows me to see my surroundings, and it also helps out a little bit with my ADS speed. This is my 8 attachment HDR build. Now for all these, I'm going to be giving you 8 attachments. I'll have a couple go-to 5 attachment guns. You're just going to have to make your own judgment on what you prefer for 5 attachment guns. Most of the time when I go from 8 attachment to 5 attachment, if it has a good iron sight, I'll get rid of the optic. Sometimes I'll lose like the rear grip, which maybe helps out with my ADS speed, but doesn't hurt, you know, my gun's core performance. Like when I'm building a gun, a muzzle is core, an underbarrel is core, a magazine is core. Sometimes an optic, depending on that, is core. Barrel, I would like to keep because it gives me a lot of bullet velocity. But if I don't need an optic, then I will throw on more than likely a fire mod, which will give me something crazy like a overpressure recoil spring, something like that. So moving on over here, we have the GPR 8. Now you'll see I have built this with a G grip and with a red dot. I'll be like, Isaac, it's supposed to be, you know, a long range AR, and it's just not good enough. Okay, the GPR is not good enough at long ranges. If you remember from the graphs we were looking at earlier, it has a drop off. It's not going to be your long range AR. It's going to be a fantastic sniper support. Okay, look at the numbers down at the very bottom of your screen. Sprint to fire of 110 milliseconds. That's incredible. ADS of 230. That's not great, but we do have the G grip, and the G grip helps out with our hip fire to sprinting accuracy, or our hip fire to ADS accuracy. So as I'm aiming down sight, you will still see it's very accurate because it's basically like a Strelok laser built in. Incredible gun for a sniper support. Very straight shooter. Really nice aim down sight strafing speed. It just doesn't have the damage range that I personally would like to make this a main AR, but it's fast enough that I would feel comfortable clearing out buildings. And that for me makes it a really, really fun gun to use. If you haven't already, make sure you take your screenshot of my 8 attachment GPR. Moving on from there, we have the Grau. The Grau, if you remember from the graph earlier, is one of the best performing long range guns in the game. Traditionally, I would say do not use the Grau with an 8 attachment, but since the meta's kind of shifted up a little bit, I actually really like the idea of potentially running the Grau as an 8 attachment, especially with the new buffed 8x scope. I mean, damn! It's a laser! Important thing to note with the Grau, it has a sharp vertical climb at the very beginning. Watch. Sharp vertical, and then it's very easy to control. And so because of that, I've built it in with a compensator for the average player, right? The compensator helps that steep climb. If you want, you could throw on the monolithic, and that will, again, make the climb even steeper, but you'll get a lot more bullet velocity. For me, at range, that's a pretty steep climb. Like, it climbed so hard there, I wasn't sure if I got a frame drop or if that was how hard it was climbing on me. Like, it climbs. Sometimes it's climbing harder than others, and I don't have that question in my mind whenever I'm using it with a compensator. So me, I would suggest Grau 8 attachment, go ahead and rock it with a compensator. Use the optic of your choice. The Dobrik, after it's been buffed, is very nice. Everything else I've built out for recoil control. Strelok laser just because I have the extra attachment. Unfortunately, you cannot change the barrel without getting rid of the full auto conversion. You still, fortunately, get a nice 1,000 meter per second bullet velocity. So it's a pretty nice gun to use, and the time to kill is really good at range, making it one of the best, if not the best AR outside of the TR2 taken in that marksman rifle spot. Make sure you take a screenshot. Moving on from there, Cypher. Kind of slowly been sneaking into the meta here and there. Okay, this kills faster than most of the other ARs on the book. And it would kind of be like a top 2, maybe top 3 AR for me. It does have a little bit of a horizontal pull though, okay? Up, left, right, you know, so there's a little bit of shakeage going on there, but it's not so much that I would say don't use it. If you're looking for something to use, you played a lot of Urzikstan, you have the Cypher in your back pocket, I think it's definitely a worthwhile weapon to check out. The Cypher, again, because of that horizontal, we threw on the recoil springs, infiltrator stock, quick draw, extended mag 2, vertical, gain twist, compensator, optic of your choice, and you'll see it still has a 1247 bullet velocity, which is really good. And the damage that we looked at earlier shows that it's plenty good to hang with something like the SWAT, plenty good to hang with something like the GPR, but it's better than the GPR at range, and it's much better than the Krig at range. Cypher might be one to try out, see if you like it. Make sure, if you haven't already, take a screenshot. If you guys appreciate the fact that I didn't just rip this out as fast as I could, I looked at the numbers, I studied the game, I tested these all out in-game, and I'm not just giving you BS loadouts every new week, best new loadout. I try to save these for when it's genuinely worth your time to look through these, listen to my insights, and take all these dang screenshots. Make sure if you are taking these screenshots, you drop a like on this video and subscribe with notifications on for even more, because I don't like to waste your time. I only like to post videos when I feel like it's really important for you to hear them out. And if you appreciate that philosophy, make sure subscribe, drop a like. And if you haven't already, I did have a merch drop. While we're looking at these loadouts, make sure, I'm not gonna give you full cheeks for free. We had a merch drop, okay? That'll be linked in the description as well. We had a merch drop with a whole bunch of fun Verdansk Easter eggs. This is my loadout t-shirt. You can see it's a little loadout icon. That's my water bottle. Loadout icon with my logo in it. We got a lot of really fun merch in there, whether it's the hat that I'm wearing with my logo, minimal. Yeah, shameless plug there. Check it out, okay? It's high quality stuff. I'm really proud of the merch. And if you like Verdansk, you like Call of Duty, I think you'll like some of the designs that we cooked up, okay? Here is the FFAR. Again, I said the FFAR and the GPR were kind of right, line on line. Very similar stats when it comes to things like the Sprintifire and the aim down sight. So the FFAR is going to feel plenty competent clearing out a building with a Sprintifire of 135. That's great. And an aim down sight of 235. Not as good as an SMG, but still good enough, especially considering how well it handles at the mid-range. And as you're trying to get your gun up to aiming down sight, the G-grip allows you're firing faster because you have that good Sprintifire. But as you start that ADS, it doesn't need to be fully ADS because this helps out with your hip fire to ADS accuracy. That's why I throw the G-grip on my sniper supports. Great fire rate. Great aim down sight movement speed. Very straight shooter. It has a little bit of horizontal wobble that I wouldn't want to use it as a main AR. It's almost there. It's surprisingly almost there. I've thought about it. I think the SWAT's just a little bit better, but fantastic for a sniper support, clearing out buildings and being a sniper support to your HDR. This is the FFAR 8 attachment build. Make sure you take a screenshot. Nice. There actually is recoil springs on there as well. I'm going to go ahead and move my cam out of the way. Here you go. There's another opportunity to take a screenshot. If you haven't already, do not miss out on those recoil springs. They really help control that horizontal recoil. All right, bringing her home, bringing her home, bringing her home. Okay, I have a couple 5-and-5s that I kind of like actually will rely on. Most of the time when I play the game, I buy one loadout and I pick up my 8 attachment weapon. And then I'll just use an SMG that I have on the ground, or I'll use an AR depending on what I'm trying to run with that game. I generally like to have 8 attachments at 2 of them if I can. Sometimes, especially if it's end game and I come back from the gulag or my teammates buy me back and I just want to pick up 2, I'll run towards something like this. I have an HDR with 5 attachments that you can see right here. I have overpressured, bland well, monolithic, lightweight, and you can get all 5 of them right here. This is my 5 attachment HDR. And then from there, I throw on the GPR. I'm back and forth, but I think I'm back and forth on whether or not I prefer the GPR 5 attachment or the FFAR 5 attachment. I'll go ahead and show you it right now. Go and take a screenshot. This is a GPR 5 attachment. And then if you want, you have the option, if you want to try it out, you can go ahead and try out the FFAR 5 attachment that I have built as well. I have it built out as an iron sight. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it has worked out very well for me. Basically, I wanted to keep that rear grip on there to help get in those faster sprint to fire fights, because without it, I just don't feel like I get my gun up quick enough. And so this is, real quick, let me double check. Yep. This is what I would rock for my 5 attachment FFAR. Iron sights, not as clean. But man, something about the fire rate on the FFAR is just so satisfying. They screwed up the iron sight though. They screwed up the iron sight compared to the Cold War era that we were playing with. This is my 5 attachment FFAR. And then bringing it over, 5 attachment Grau. Grau is still incredible, has a great default iron sight. You're gonna miss out on the optic, you're gonna miss out on the stock, which can help out a little bit, and you're gonna miss out on the laser. But honestly, the Grau is the best 5 attachment weapon in the game. If you're ever picking up a 5 attachment loadout, this or a sniper is basically my go-to. Iron sight on it is so clean. It shoots so straight. And it's like the only gun that I feel like I'm not at a disadvantage only having 5 attachments on. Okay, Grau 5 attachment loadout for me. If you haven't already, take a screenshot. I would then pair that up with my LC10. LC10, you already know the drill here. Go and take a screenshot. And then if you want to get a little bit mixy, I've really been enjoying running the Marine. It's the only other close range weapon that I like to use outside of the LC10 and my sniper supports. Take it here. You can either run it with an ADS build with a target laser, or a lot of people have been running with a tactical laser where you run it hip fire, and as you can see, or tac stance, very tight spread there. And it'll beat even an LC10 when you just start throwing some shoulders. Now, keep in mind, bots don't always react well to shotguns. So in my experience, that would have cracked someone, that would have killed someone. Like, never trust the bot's reaction to shotguns. They're just bugged. But against players, this thing is an absolute cannon and a lot of fun to use, especially if you're a little bit more of a technical player who feels confident, like throwing some shoulders, getting around corners, because it can really finesse some enemies. If you haven't already, go ahead and take your screenshot of my 5 attachment Big Boomer Marine SP shotgun. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. I'm very excited to finally have a new meta. My goodness, it's taken a while. For your SA, I'm in perks. I'll run Scavenger, Tempered, and then I'll either run Quick Fix for the faster health regen, or I'll run something like Tracker, even though Tracker was pretty significantly nerfed. Smokes, Impact Nades, and then sometimes if I'm feeling really aggressive, I'll run Bird's Eye, but usually I'll run Tempered as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to drop a like. Check out my merch drop. Shout out to Call of Duty Mobile for sponsoring today's video. And if you want, come join me over on Twitch to catch some gameplay of me using all of these weapons live. If you have any suggestions for future videos to cover as we head into the rest of the summer with Warzone, let me know. But until then, I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.